happy now moment, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with you as always. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and an open heart to your listening experience, and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality. While listening, you will be exposed to inspiring, empowering, and unifying perspectives that I'm highly confident will yield stellar results in your life if you opt to try them on for size. Also, if you're a longtime P-Head listener, you know I have been diligently working on producing episodes for my new late-night style, consciousness-elevating video talk show, Optimistic. Well, after a year plus in the making, I am thrilled to announce that we will be releasing Season 1's episodes weekly beginning March 15th, and I'm asking for your help to spread the love and to let your friends and family know about Optimistic when it's released. In exchange for taking a minute to share our Episode 1 teaser video on March 15th, or whenever you're hearing this, up through the end of April, we're giving you monthly memberships to not one, but two consciousness-expansive online content portals from two of my very favorite teachers and healers that are valued at over $50 a month, as well as entering your name into a drawing to win a free week at the Mystic Manor for a retreat immersion valued at $2,950, where the winner will be chosen in April. Otherwise, if you're interested in hearing more details about the rewards you'll receive for supporting, we'll send you a video that goes into detail when you text the word Mystic to the number 22999. You can also go to optimistic.tv to see several other videos, including the Optimistic show trailer and two videos that discuss the week-long retreat immersion, as well as details of what the Mystic Manor immersion entails and how you can book a week to come stay with us even if you don't win the raffle. All right, all you positive heads, on this week's Soul Share episode, I'm very excited to have my dear friend Damiana here with me on the show. Damiana is a pleasure and love alchemist whose primary aim is to guide humanity into a deeper state of beingness to help us all learn to live in love, pleasure, and purpose. Hello, Damiana. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Aloha. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
So good to have you. And Damiana is new on the scene here in the Mystic Manor, and she's been lighting up retreat guests quite a bit in the last couple weeks. And I just felt like it made a lot of sense to just drag you into the show like I do all my magical friends. And you have so much good to share, and I felt like it was a really great way for people to get a glimpse into not only the offerings that you have, but what's going on here at the Mystic Manor. Because, there are people who are considering coming, and there are those who will never come, and my aim is to give them as much of the magic as possible remotely. And by the way, for any of you who are interested in coming, I know now seems like maybe as of this recording with the coronavirus, a strange time to book a trip. But I would say with Optimistic just being released a few days ago, by the way, the new late night style talk show, variety show, taking sort of the evolution of this show, being released just a few days ago, episode 1, you can check it out at optimistic.tv. I feel like there's going to be a lot more people wanting to come to the Mystic Manor and spend a week-long retreat immersion, which you can also learn more about at optimistic.tv and see videos about it, etc. What other guests' experiences have been like. But if you guys are interested in exploring booking, I personally am holding the vision that the coronavirus thing is a few-week process and we're all back better than ever. And so now I would say it would be a really, really good time to discuss booking and coming to see us in the coming weeks and months. And you can do that by booking at calendly.com/mystic deal, and you can talk to one of the elves over here about travel and coming out when we are birthed in on the other side of this very interesting time that is happening for us, not to us, right? Would you say, Damiana?
Oh yes, I am actually so grateful for this experience that we're all moving through. It feels like a beautiful divine alignment of just this death of the old way of being and a full rebirth into this new ascension of the planet and a real reuniting of the people really coming together and unifying. And also it's just an incredible opportunity to really slow down. The pace at which we as humans move is so extreme, so fast paced that it was gonna it had to take something extreme, a crisis, to actually get people to just pattern interrupt, to really get them to look at things differently, to become more aware. And this is so exciting for what I do and bring into the world, because this is a huge part of my focus. One thing I talk about a lot is really moving from this idea that the only way to be successful is to be constantly producing and constantly doing, and that there is no time to slow down. And everything that I'm really here to be and bring and offer to the world is this reminder of the power that lies within the breath, the out-breath, the release, the calm, and recognizing the absolute magic and magnetism of stillness.
Yeah, it feels divinely aligned that you are here now, really integrating with us here at the Mystic Manor. Those of you who've been following the story and all along the way know that Samantha Sam Lotus, who's been regular here on the podcast as well, has been working in-house at the Mystic Manor, facilitating healing workshop, part of the retreat experience, and she has now transitioned back to Canada, visa issue, et cetera, and so Damiana is stepping in to kind of fill some big shoes, and so far people have been blown away by Damiana's offerings, and so I think it's very divinely aligned that you're here, Damiana, with me as someone who, I always say my initials are BBB, because the biggest lesson I'm meant to learn is to BBB and slow down, because I'm such a doer and I move so fast and I talk so fast, and it's like go. And so I think you've already been, in your infinite patience, observed that and are doing your best to graciously guide me to a timeout. Meanwhile, I think I'm winning that battle as we are here doing it, working together at this moment. But I have a feeling you're going to be the victor in the end. So the tortoise ends up beating the hare. And so, I feel that writing's on the wall, so to speak.
Well, we all win, ultimately, because we will all come into this state of remembering together. And one thing I always say is that we are not human doings. We are human beings. Like, we are here to be.
Why didn't someone tell me that 30 years ago?
I mean, it's so real. It's like in our namesake. Like, we are human beings. We are beings of the humankind. And coming into the power of the balance of that. Like, one thing that's so funny is, like, a lot of these people in the spiritual community will be like, so far on one side, like so far in the being, they'll just sit here and do nothing. There's no doing.
I almost get irritated by so much of that. Like, if you send me any more distance Reiki from the corner telling me that's going to fix all my problems when there's 1,000 things to do.
You're like, do you want to see my to-do list?
Yeah, please, could you distance Reiki this to-do list for me and get it all done?
Crossing these off the list, that'd be really ideal.
Exactly.
I mean, I totally get it. I get it. And people, talk to me, and that's one thing that I feel like people really resonate with me, is that it's very accessible what I bring, and I bring a lot of silliness and comedy and really humanness, right? It's not just like, so people actually, just Rachel Cook the other day, she who came as a retreat guest, she's amazing, her and her incredible mom. And I got the pleasure of guiding them through this really beautiful journey, and also did a one-on-one session with them.
They mentioned you actually last Friday's episode.
Oh,
they were reeling from they were on Friday.
I'm so excited to hear that, get to listen. But one of the things that came through, Rachel said, she's like, what you bring is so accessible. I feel like out of every being person I've heard from and tried to learn from and grasp information from, there's something about the way you deliver it, the way that it's expressed. I grasp it. I really get it.
Yeah.
And it clicks into place. And she's like, that's huge for me. And I that's partly why she felt so transformed, her and her mother, was because that full receptivity of it.
Right.
And so I do believe, I know that, part of that is that I am I'm human. I swear, I say I'm silly, I'm ridiculous. I'm also so in tune with pleasure and so in tune, tapped into my purpose here on the planet. And I know that seeing someone that is in pleasure and that is in love and that is walking in that way can also sometimes be really triggering for people.
Yeah.
People think I'm just full of, do you swear on this?
Sure.
Can you? I don't know. I just realized I'm
we have a clean logo on iTunes, but there's definitely been some bombs dropped here and there.
Well, so, there's so much of what I bring that is just so real and so transparent, and I'm just all about really helping people remember the truth and to come into that knowing of what has been here all along, and this remembering that I am not going to heal you. I am not the healer here to heal you. I am a guide to bring you back to the truth that has always been here. And the way that we find that truth, the way that we remember that truth, is through slowing down, is through the stillness, is through the breath, is through the pleasure, it's through the senses, it's through opening and awakening the senses. And I have found the senses to actually be the fastest way in, the absolute fastest way to drop in to that state of presence, pure presence, and that beingness is through the senses. And that's actually why I created an experience called Sensual Awakening Experience, because it actually takes people from their thinking, doing, producing, highly reactive, constantly go, 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 I can't do all the coffee, all the things, there's not enough time, to actually remember that we have all the time in the world. And it's actually, we have the power to create time. And if you say, I don't have enough time, you will never have enough time. Because it's not that you have time, it's literally that we create time. And time slows down when you slow down.
Yeah.
And that's how we bend time. That's how we become Jedi Master time benders.
It's so funny that you say that, because I literally just pulled up while you were talking. You made me think of unlearning, and first thing that came up, and I was like, who said this? Buddha? I can't quite remember. And I was searching it while you were talking, and the first thing, as you can see on the screen right here, is Yoda, the ultimate Jedi. You must unlearn what you have learned.
Yes. This.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
I see. So this is the truth, the absolute truth. And that's why actually I put quotes on this, my programs that I offer, I call them deprograms.
Right.
Because I'm not programming you with a bunch more lies. I am helping to guide you to deprogram layers upon layers upon layers that have been built up in this lifetime and past lifetimes, from our parents, from schools, from the programming of the media to music. Everything we see since the time we are born is programming us to be a certain way in the world, to live a certain way, to be a part of the machine, to go to school, make money, work until the day that you maybe get to retire before you die.
Which means you're just exhausted and you get to sit around for another couple years.
You don't even get to enjoy the golden years. What? What? It's just insanity. And so This is so on point, that you must unlearn what you have learned. And that, can be so challenging for people, because it feels almost impossible for them to lay down the programmings. And I like to think of it almost like it's like a shield. It's like people have this armor, this constant shield up, this wall up that they have built around themselves to protect themselves. Or so they think it's protecting them. But the truth is that when we dissolve these layers, we are safe always. We are so protected.
You're eternally, you're untouchable. You have the ultimate God mode, invincibility.
Truly. When I lived in Compton, basically South Central, for 4.5 years, the entire time I've been in LA until just this last year when I moved out. And I would go walk down the streets with my dog, and all of the roommates would always be like, no, you can't go walk through the streets. Like, it's really dangerous. Like, it's not okay here. Like, we just heard gunshots. And like, I would always walk and carry myself in this way of pure knowing that I am so safe and protected. And ultimately, it's just pure love, walking in love. And the power of that, I would only have beautiful experiences. I would see people on the streets who maybe they were gang members. That's what we got told. We literally lived on 21st Street. There was the 22 Street gang, like the 22nd Street gang was behind us.
Yeah.
And so there's like gang members everywhere.
Yeah.
That's probably why they were so afraid. And I would literally like be like, hey, how's it going? Like, how's your day? And they'd be like, yeah, what's up, girl? Like, yeah, great day. Like, they would just be chill with me, you know? And it's so about the way, it's what we believe and the way that we move in the world. And you can either be in fear or you can be in love. And the truth is that when you are in love, living in love, expressing love, being love, you're untouchable. And the fact is that you transform anyone who encounters you. One thing I say is I come to the room to transform the room. There's no other reason for me to be here. Like, that is why I enter a space. And I see it viscerally when I enter a space. And when I am there, things are shifted. And people will even sometimes come up to me and be like, that was the best meeting we've ever had. Like, was it, you barely even said anything. Was it just because you were there? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe. But it's the power of love. And so my, big part of my mission, my purpose is really to help humankind remember the power of love and the power of pleasure and remembering our purpose through infinite pleasure. We can actually remember our purpose of why we are here through pleasure and through bliss, through orgasmic states of bliss.
Beautiful. Well, we have a couple of quotes here that I pulled up a moment ago that I'll just share because they're so good. And they all touch on everything you were just saying. For example, walking down the street in Compton, is it dangerous? Well, if you think it so, Buddha said, all that we are is the result of all that we have thought. Lao Tzu said, to attain knowledge, add things every day. To attain wisdom, removes things every day.
Yes.
And then Alan Watts said, a scholar tries to learn something every day. A student of Buddhism tries to unlearn something daily.
Oh my goddess. So, I love that.
So good.
Wow. Oh, I want to take a picture of that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all so good.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. That is it. And that's why I really think of it as this dissolving the layers upon layers. And there are some that are so dug in, so indoctrined into their ways of being that it can seem impossible. How could I get to there when I'm right here?
Yeah.
But the truth is that the magic is in here. The magic is in the here and now. And it is only right now that things have the opportunity to transform. Oftentimes we look at, once I have the money, once I have the job, once I have the woman, once I have the whatever, then I can slow down. Then I can be happy.
Yep.
Then I'll experience those things that I've been wanting to experience. I actually just did a session with this man the other day. He's a financial advisor. He has a ton of money. He is doing very well. He's a financial advisor to celebrities and stuff. And I was talking to him, his biggest thing, he says, once I have enough money, then I can relax.
Yeah, right.
I was like, oh.
You'll never have enough money.
And so I totally guided him into the power of relaxing right now.
Yeah.
And one of the things that came through was he realized he told himself, once I get to this point, I'm going to go on a retreat. 2 years ago is when he said that to himself, and he never once stopped. No. He has not traveled once. He's not gone on a retreat. He's done nothing for himself. That just shows you the people, and this is a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
It's never enough.
Yeah.
It is never enough until you decide that you are ready to completely transform everything you've been taught and unlearn. And it really does not have to take that long. That's one thing I really love to it's quantum. It's absolute quantum transformation. There are people who have this belief system that says, in order to heal trauma, in order to, heal systems of the past, in order to transform or transcend or all these things, that it's going to take years. Oh, it's going to take 5 years, 10 years. Oh, I don't have time for that. The truth is, we can transform it in an instant. It is
Yeah.
really a decision to see with new eyes.
Yeah.
And that's what I love to do. That's like my specialty. I'm like, let me show you. All I need is a yes, I'm ready. And I'm like, yes, let's go.
Yeah, it's a Wayne Dyer quote that I love. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And
Absolutely.
It's so, so true. And wow, we dove right in the deep end of the pool there, Damiana.
It's hard not
so
to.
I didn't even get my initial question out. Which is funny. I think most people aren't as skilled as you as taking me down off track with my predictability of, this is my typical opening question. So we're going to go back to it. You're in an elevator. The woman next to you looks over and says, what's your passion? You got 10 floors to answer. What do you say?
I am passionate about reminding humankind to live in love, pleasure, and purpose, and to hold and support those who are ready to fully step into who they were always meant to be, who they always were, and give them the tools that have always been there for them to truly step in to their piece of the puzzle.
Well, before we talk about how one uncovers these truths, let's back up again a little bit, and just to give some context to who you are, how you got here, where you came from, if you would share a little bit about your backstory.
So I am from Northern California, beautiful county called Marin. So magical. I love it up there. And I was born into this body, into this lifetime, with an absolute knowing of what I was here to do on the planet from a grander scale of essentially helping to heal, helping to transform. I went through a lot of suffering when I was really young because I would see people in pain. I would see like homeless people and especially in San Francisco, that was like my closest city, and people with no legs, children who are homeless, just a lot of underprivileged people, underserved people with no resources. And as a very little girl, like I would just hysterically cry. Like I could not control it. And my mom actually worked out this system that every time we would be crossing the Golden Gate Bridge, whenever we would get close to like doing the threshold into like the actual city, she'd be like, okay, like put your chair back, and I would go all the way back and recline in my seat so I didn't have to see it.
Wow.
Because it was so intense and overwhelming, and I couldn't control it. It was like I would be wrecked for a while.
Wow.
And it was just very, very young. And one of the things that I always felt, if you can imagine, it was as if I was the mother of all of these beings. It was like I had this cosmic motherly energy where I just wanted to wrap them all, like scoop them all in my arms and hold them and like let them know that it was going to be okay and how loved they were, and just really see them. And I felt it was so challenging for me because I felt so powerless because I was a little girl.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really do that.
Yeah, right.
And so that was really challenging for me. And I have, there's stories about when I was little and the kinds of like healing things I would do on my parents' friends, and I would just always was this nurturer, and was just such a bright light, such a like love and dancing and playing and so dramatic and just always singing and did tons of characters. I've been doing I was in theater my entire life from second grade all the way through high school. And then when I was in second grade, I basically switched schools. I was the odd one out. I immediately started getting extremely teased, and to such a degree where I felt I had no one. Like wow. I felt like I was just exiled, like full isolation.
Wow.
And it continued because, and of course now I can see what was happening, but essentially what it was that these children were casting spells on me. And I chose to believe the spells. Mm-hmm. I didn't have the resources or the tools or the knowledge to know that that was a choice. I didn't have to take that on, but I did. Yeah. And not only I took it on so much, like so extreme, to the point that it was like layer upon layer upon layer upon layer built up of protection around me to try to protect myself. And what it actually, in the physical world, what it did was I gained hundreds of pounds.
Wow.
So by the time I was in 8th grade, I was 200 pounds.
Wow.
And I was being that whole time extreme, like to the point where people were like throwing cookies at me in the hall. Like I would go and sit in the bathroom to eat my lunch because I just didn't want to deal with it.
Poor thing.
And it was really traumatic, and it was also exactly what was required. Because it brought me to a place where I felt so alone, unseen, unfelt, unheard, like dimmed my light, went from this bright, beautiful, like shining light to this like shell of a human who then, because of that, I then attracted really unhealthy relationships, which then turned abusive. And I was in extremely abusive one, the one that was about like 8 years ago, which was the last abusive relationship I would ever be in this lifetime. It actually was emotional, physical, spiritual, like all levels of abuse. Wow. And there were moments where I was like, oh, I'm gonna die here. Like, this is how I die.
Wow.
And I was sending like love to my mom, my dad, and just like sending them like, I'm okay, like I'll watch over you, like I'm leaving you, like just not phone, but energetically sending them this like, I'm leaving. And I had a really beautiful like shift that actually happened that really woke me up, and it was the most magical thing that could have happened. My partner at the time actually wanted a dog, and I was like, you're crazy, you can't take care of yourself. He turned, during the time we were together, he turned like paranoid schizophrenic, and like bipolar and all these other things that was induced by meth. Wow. Which I like found out later. Like he was hiding it from me, and once I like put the pieces together and started researching, I was like, okay, this is what's happening. Yeah. And he wanted a dog, and I was like, you're crazy. And he finally like pushed for it, and he got a dog, and he got this little pit bull puppy, of which he wanted to train to be a guard dog. And because he was so paranoid, everything was attacking him.
Got it.
Everything was attacking him.
Got it.
I finally had this, like, not finally, actually really quickly, I saw that he was abusing this little puppy that was the sweetest little and most innocent thing. And I was able to see myself in this innocent being. Wow. And I was able to, that energy of seeing that, it completely flipped everything. I wasn't at the time willing to stand up for myself, which I know I'm sure a lot of you resonate with. It can be so much easier to stand up for and speak to another injustice that you see. So that's what happened. I saw this being, and I went into full like mama bear like protection mode, and that's what snapped me out of it to go, oh my God, like that's me. And so it led down this incredible journey of remembering and dissolving layers upon layers upon layers of this programming of protection, of like, I have to protect myself. But then because I was in so much fear all the time from the teasing and the torturing and all of this, I basically was attracting all of these things to show the outer reflection of what I felt on the inside. Right. And once I really started to come out of that shell and recognize what was going on a more observer scale, a broader scale, that's when things really started to shift, and I started to come more into my power. And it's been a journey. It's been a total journey. I mean, ultimately, probably, like 8 years of deprogramming all of the lies to come into the core, the crystalline, pure core of the truth of who I am and who I had always been. Yeah. And so, and now what I have, one of the many things that I've realized, that I've remembered, is that it doesn't have to take that long. It doesn't have to take a decade to remember and to step into purpose and to experience pleasure and to awaken to our power.
Yeah.
And so now that is what I do, and that's what I'm committed to, is to helping people shift it as quickly as they want to. And sometimes it takes, if they're really dug in, sometimes parental stuff, sometimes, there's so many things, programming of work, and but sometimes it takes a few months, but ultimately like massive shifts happen after just a few minutes, after, like with the session that we did last week, the immersion that I did with this group of incredible women, within the first half an hour, the entire room was crying, holding each other.
Right.
And I was just looking around like, oh, like this is what I'm here to do on the planet.
Yeah.
And at such a great scale, a massive scale. And that's what I really see as well, is that this is, what we are doing here is really the microcosm of the macrocosm, and I see this being the birthing place for the massive, massive shifts and transformation and awakening that is happening on our planet right now, of which the coronavirus is a massive catalyst.
Yeah.
Which corona means crown.
Oh,
also.
yeah, that's right.
And so we're literally opening and awakening the power
wow.
of our
Ooh, I got
crown.
chills with that. I did not even make that connection.
We're activating the crown.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a trip. I mean, I just read the coronavirus, the channeling from the coronavirus the other day on an episode. And so, thinking of it as the crown, crown chakra opening, that makes so much sense for the times we're living in. It's there's so much shift happening.
Massive shift.
It's a real shift show around here.
I love it.
As we keep saying.
So true.
Wow. So where else do we take this, Damiana? What else? What else do you feel called to share and explore?
Well, there are so many things. I feel like one that is just so pertinent right now with everything that is going on in our world is really just this reminder of what I like to call everyone a VIPP, which is a very important piece of the puzzle.
Ooh,
and I actually spell peace like peace, P-E-A-C-E. And
ooh,
yeah,
good at that.
Another little upgrade. So a very important piece of the puzzle, recognizing without you, there is no us. And when we come into the hive mentality, this hive way of being, we recognize that every piece is vital to the hive.
Yeah.
And no matter if you are the one sweeping the floors or you are the CEO that is a multimillionaire, every single one of us serves a function. And in our world, we see function as, oh, you're the house cleaner. But it's like there's also something else there. There is always something there because every single one of us has medicine to share.
Ooh, can I add to this real quick? Because I've been having this very interesting feeling lately around this. As you guys hear me talk about on the show all the time, I believe, we sort of play all the roles. So I use my dad as an example. We have the same birthday and he's very passionate about his spirituality and he goes out door knocking, inviting people to his very conservative, narrow-minded church every Sunday. And I have this strong feeling like it's sort of like the short story, The Egg. I'm not sure if you're familiar with The Egg or not, but if not, I've read it on the show before, and there's a great YouTube video that's been made. Actually, there's a couple of them. The one with the English woman as God, the cute little English woman as God is my favorite. But anyway, if you go on and search The Egg by Andy Weir, I believe is the name, and watch it, it's like 13 minutes. Or you can read the story, but it's really good, the short story they did on YouTube, and our version they did on YouTube. But anyway, basically what that shares is this idea that you play every role, and then you've grown enough to be born. So you play every role in humanity. God is having this conversation with this guy that just passed, and he goes, okay, now you're going to go back as a Japanese woman in the 80s or 90s. And he's like, hold on, that's the past. Well, time is illusory. She's just a match for who you're meant to be next. And you get to play every role. And he's like, so hold on, you mean I was Hitler? And she's like, and everyone he killed. You mean I was Gandhi? And everyone he helped. And it's like that idea really, really resonates with me. I believe we play all the roles. So I believe, as I'm, my dad, quote unquote, sitting there, the soul in that body is yes, it's also a part of me. And there's also, from one perspective and from another perspective, relative truths. There's a difference and separation. And I believe perhaps my soul already played that role. And when I played that role and lived through that maybe more narrow-minded version of spirituality, there was another soul playing the character of Brandon, right? And so we move through the actual avatars based off, you pass and then you go back and you go, okay, here's where you upgraded to. You have this choice to be a Viking in the 1400s or this person in the year 2225, whatever, right? And you go through and you play all the roles. And so you sit on every side of the table in an argument or in a, like she said, Hitler or those that he killed or, all of these things. And so for me, that's just like, that really resonates with me. So when I look around, for example, you said the house cleaner, the person, the angel that cleans the Mystic Manor, Dora, she reminds me so much of my grandmother. And I always get this feeling like, oh, I bet I've played Dora. I bet I've played. So, here sort of I'm, in a sense, the king of the castle here in the Mystic Manor. And I believe I played probably every role of every character. And so we had one other timeline, in the quote unquote past from one perspective, I played the house cleaner and then the, whoever's next and then whoever's next. And then, and at some point I sort of then get to play the role of, king of the castle, right? And then on it goes. And so it's a really interesting vantage point to look at reality from whenever you're in any sort of circle or, tribe or community or workplace or whatever, to think, maybe some person that I'm judging as beneath me or something. It's like, no, not at all. Actually, yes, maybe in some cases you have advanced from one perspective beyond where they're at from one set of, some sort of gauge of what success is or perspective expansion is. And from another, it's like, that's just a part of the bigger puzzle, right? And we all have taken on, you go through all the roles, sort of.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I definitely feel like part of the way that we can really shift how we're seeing people, like really shifting our perspective, is to come into this knowing that we have no idea what someone is going through. Everyone is fighting a battle that we know nothing about. And people don't wear a sign on their shirt that says, I am severely depressed and on the brink of suicide.
Yeah.
And so then when you do this little kind of side glance at them for almost nothing because you just saw the way that they did something, that could literally be the thing that pushes them over the edge to kill themselves.
Right.
Or it could be that someone that's driving past you like a madman, super fast, and you're like, oh my God, you almost hit me, and you're freaking out like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And you have no idea. Maybe that person is literally on their way to go save their mother that they just found out is dying.
Right. Yep.
So when we can come into this state of recognition of everyone's role, that everyone is playing their part, that everyone has medicine for us, and that everything is an opportunity. Everything is an opportunity. And I spell opportunity, apport, unity. Because really, the word unity, I always do all caps for unity, because the word, it has unity in it, and it's in order to experience the opportunity in community and coming together is really about unification. And so looking at all of these people as what is the medicine here? Wow, this medicine was reminding me to slow down. I need to slow down. Oh, this is reminding me, let me look at this person in the eye when I pass them. When we have the power with just a smile, with just some eye contact, we have the power to transform someone's world.
Yeah.
I have witnessed this countless times, that when I have, I used to give money or whatever other things I would have to homeless people. And when I've come more and more and more into my remembering, now I just give them love. And I look at them in the eye and I let them feel, know that I see them just through the eyes, through a smile, say, thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence. I just wanted to give you love. Thank you for existing. I leave them with a bigger smile than when I've given a homeless person $20 or when I've given them an entire meal.
Right.
Because everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to be felt, to be heard, to be held, to be supported, to feel that they're in such a safe space that they can say and express whatever they want. And the truth is that when we feel safe to express ourselves and our ideas and what wants to come through, our visions, everything is transformed. Every single person in our experience, in this community, in this house that we're living in right now, there are people who have incredible things to say and to offer and to like massive upgrades in different ways, but they're in a space where they haven't unlocked their voice.
Right.
They feel afraid because, well, what if they say that, well, I don't know, what if I don't want to stir the pot in a bad way. So that's part of what I've really realized is my role here as well, is to help each and every individual to fully rise into their highest potential.
Yeah.
Because when we do that, we see them on another level. We can know what they offer, know the opportunities
Rising
that are
tide
there for
raises
us.
all ships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We all rise together. And together, right now is the time more than ever before that we are ready to remember the power of our togetherness. It is only in our togetherness that changes everything. The isolation and the separation that has been indoctrined into all of us, that has been bred into all of us from the time that we were born. You go into a car by yourself, you go into a house by yourself, you go to work in a little cubicle by yourself. Everything is like you and you alone. And that is where all of these mental health issues stem from. That is where all of this depression, all of this, like so much of what's going on in our world is from separation. And it is only through our unification that we can heal it, that we will heal these wounds, that we will heal these traumas, and that we transform everything.
Yeah.
And together we are rising higher than we ever thought that we could before.
Yeah, I was having this conversation yesterday about, this place and the Mystic Manor and what sort of this experiment in community living that is transpiring here with new guests dropping in most weeks. And it's truly like just so stepping outside of the mold of conventionality. And if you go back far enough, it's just getting back to what we were.
Yeah, that's why I call it ancient future. It's like this is the way it's always been, and we have been told that we're not supposed to be. We've been separated from birth, and it's like now we all have, like I call it, and I've heard you say it too, it's like we were born with amnesia, and now it's a great remembering. It's a great awakening and remembering into the ways that we get to be to actually transform everything, and it is in community. And so here at the Mystic Manor, I really see us as an absolute microcosm of the macrocosm. And as we come together and show people what's possible, then they go out into the world and then they take that into their communities and they create community spaces, community houses, community experiences where they can bring everything that they've remembered from these deep dive retreat experiences that we're able to offer, and really hold that space for them in consistency as well, and really creating accountability, because it can be so hard and challenging for people with all of the distractions of our everyday life and our everyday experience to go back into the regular world and feel comfortable and feel safe and feel like they can take all this out there without people being like, what, you're crazy, what are you trying to do, this is so weird, who are you now,
right.
You're trying to be vegan, what is this, all the things. And so we really get, and we're actually, I'm part of the team that is developing these incredible offerings to help people with integration from the Mystic Manor Retreats, because people are upgraded on every level. They're like, oh my God, yes. And they go back, they're like, whoa, this is a little challenging.
It's like leaving Burning Man after a week and going back
to decompress the default world, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. So we're actually working on this incredible remembership right now to help all of you, whether you've been to a retreat or not, to be able to have that consistency in community, to have support, to have those rememberings and the awakenings and the love and the tapping in, the ability to tap into that pleasure and that love at any time. Because the truth is that it's always available to us. It's not just at Burning Man. It's not just at doing ayahuasca. It's not just whatever.
The Mystic Manor.
It's not just here. It's always and in all ways.
Yep.
It is always available, but it is just an awakening to what's been there all along and a practicing of those tools. And the truth is it is so simple. And sometimes it's so simple that it's almost unfathomable to the mind, because they're like, how could it be so simple?
Yeah.
But it's not always easy.
Yeah.
It's not always easy, but it's so simple, love, which is actually the name of our nonprofit.
What do you know?
It's exactly what it's about.
So I'd like to switch gears just for a moment here, because one of the things that jumped out to me when we first met was you being someone who has explored non-traditional relationship structures and seemed to be doing so in a healthy, well-adjusted way. And, this is something that I've talked about quite a bit on the show, going way back to, early episodes with Kelly Neff, years and years ago, and she was on again a few weeks ago, actually, for the second time. And it's something that I've also explored, over for many years now, and most effectively at this point in my life as well. So I'd love to, we talked a little bit about ancient future or retro-futuristic kind of things that perhaps our ancestors were very accustomed to, and now that are coming back around again, which, I think is sort of the flow of what evolution looks like. It's like separation, unification, unification.
Exactly.
From source. We depart from what's natural, and then we come back to what's natural, and then and I talk. I've mentioned many times on the show too, Dr. Christopher Ryan's work, Sex at Dawn, and sort of exploring that we have, really the way he puts it, we have. Only the last 10,000 years or so have we had, these sort of monogamous pair bonding is the way, that is the path, that is the only path. When meanwhile, we've been around 200,000 to 300,000 years, they believe, as modern man. Who knows, even beyond that, could be, way, way longer than that. But at least anthropologists accept 200,000 to 300,000 years now. And so, he believes fierce egalitarianism was the way that we sort of thrived and had the success that we've had as modern man, which means we shared everything. And in Sex at Dawn, he extends that idea to relationship. And he's saying, look, I'm not saying there wasn't pair bonding. It just wasn't necessarily exclusive in nature. And let's look at our closest relatives, the chimp and the bonobo, which we're more like than African elephants are to Indian elephants. And they don't, monogamously pair bond the way that we do. And of course, then you look at all the dysfunction that happens from those sorts of things, and the amount of shame and pain, and oh my gosh, my wife or husband doesn't love me, and families are destroyed, when really what he's arguing is, look, this is something that's intrinsic in our DNA. And so I'm curious, you and I haven't went on deep dive on this conversation at all yet. I've just observed that's something that you are participating in, and so I'm just curious what you have to share around that that issue.
Yeah, I love this topic. Actually, I'm all about helping people break out of the box. And this is the same kind of thing. So for me, basically, I am a lover. I love love. I love to love people. I love to love everything. But I don't have sex with everything. Just because I love everything, I don't have sex with them all. And so that's something that has been really interesting, because in my previous relationships, I was the same kind of free-loving being, like always trying to hug people and touch and all of this. And they would always think I was cheating on them. I got called everything under the sun of like mean, horrible things because they thought I was cheating on them. I'm like, this is just who I am. I am a lover. I'm here to love. I want to be loved, and I want to be able to be like this. It was never accepted in my previous relationships. I declared 5 years ago that I actually wasn't going to be in a relationship at all. I was like, I'm done with relationships. I've been a serial monogamist since I was 18.
Yep.
I just will not be in another one until it is so deeply aligned that I cannot deny it.
Yeah.
So it had been a long time, and during that experience, the first couple years, I was like, I really just want to actually be a celibate. I don't even want to be sexual with people, because I was just healing so much of just always being with someone, and also in that abusive relationship. And so from that experience of deciding to be not sexual with anyone, I actually opened up to how much pleasure there is outside of sex, and that's what really opened my on all levels. I experienced all of these different types of tantric practices, and that's what we call it, but I actually don't study tantra. I just know tantra. I just know the way of connecting, and oftentimes I'll guide experiences and they'll be like, oh, so this is tantra, and I'm like, you could call it that, but I choose not to, because I'm not trained in that,
Yeah.
But ultimately I discovered all of these ways of slowing down and the power of pleasure within just the gentle, subtle touching of the skin, within breath, within cycling energy, within holding, and there's so many ways to experience pleasure. So that really opened my whole world into oh my God, I can have energy orgasms, and I can have I can not have sex with people and have so much pleasure.
Yeah.
So that was a really powerful opening. And from that, after that experience, I did have sex with some different people and explored different things. And it's funny because I realized like I was never as satisfied as I was when I was not having sex and having these beautiful, pleasurable experiences. I was like, well, I was just like, why am I even having sex? Like I should just go back to the like, I'm not having sex, so just like pleasure me and all these other ways, And so, now about like 7 months ago, I entered into a really powerful relationship with an amazing man named Magic, actually. And when I met him, I was like, oh, no, of course, no wonder. Because like everything out of my mouth is either love or magic. Love, magic, love, magic. And I actually met this, before him, I met this amazing man named Love. And he ended up being this being who I started a nonprofit with. He's basically like a life partner in so many aspects, so many realms. He's so incredible. I just love him.
You love love.
I love love. I just love love, right? And he and we have a non-sexual relationship. I actually call it platantric because it's a very like tantric, sensual, loving relationship, but it's not sexual. So platantric. This is my when I introduce him. This is Love, my platantric life partner.
That's hilarious.
And this is Magic, my tantric beloved partner. So and it would be so fun because we would always like go out into these experiences and people would see us and be like, okay, so what's going on here? I just want to try to figure this out. And we love keeping people guessing, and we love breaking people out of the molds, right? And deprogramming the lies. And one of the lies is like that you can't be with two men at the same time and be walking around with you. Like, what is this, right? So the thing that has been really beautiful is that in my experience with Magic is someone who for the last decade has been not monogamous with anyone. He is actually, and right when I met him, which is, by the way, for any of you people who are like into like not being monogamous, this is like take lessons, because the first time we started like hanging out and we're like, not the very first day, because obviously we didn't know what was going to happen, but like within the first week, he told me right away, he's like, so like I'm not a monogamous like person. I really like to be with a lot of people, and like if you're okay with that, we can keep seeing each other. That is the way to go. You guys, like, do not hide it. Do not, if you are someone like that, there are people out there who will support it. There are so many people out there. They're like, fuck yeah, me too. But if you hide it and you try to shun it and shield it and think it's a shameful thing, like, you will create way more problems for yourself. Just be open. If you're open, be open. That's what it gets to be about. So he told me right away, like, this is how I am. I like to be with a lot of people. I was like, okay, cool. Well, I think you're awesome, and I want to keep connecting with you. I have no, like, I don't like really think that that's very important right now. We're just seeing each other, so let's see how it goes. A couple months in, he had this like deep realization. He said, I am the most satisfied I've ever been on all levels and like every single way, and I actually don't feel a need to be with anyone else. Wow. So he's like, so I actually feel like more open than I've ever been to actually just being with you. Like, how would you feel about that? And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. Like, same. I haven't been with anyone since we've been together. I have no desire to be with anyone else. So perfect. Let's be together. And this is the thing that changes everything. This is the key for all of you who are like really wanting to step into a new way of loving and a new way of being. When you put parameters on something and you say, you cannot do this. This is what we are. There's nothing else. This is the only way. That is what breeds so much feeling of like constriction and like
cuts off all the flow
of love. It cuts off everything. You're literally constricted. What happens when you constrict something? You kill it, right? So when you tell someone they can't
cutting the flower and putting it in a vase instead of letting it continue to do what it is.
So when you constrict something and try to close something down, they automatically are going to want to try to break free. So what we we had a conversation. We decided, we both love people and we have no idea what's going to happen. So why try to put try to strangle our relationship? So we are basically like primary partners, but we are open to what might want to come through. And so what we've agreed upon is that if there's someone that comes into our field that we start to get to know and we're like, wow, I feel like I really want to get to know this person. Like, I kind of want to dive in deeper, and it might end up being sexual, but I don't know. We have a conversation and we like let each other know, hey, there's this person I'm interested in. I'd like to connect more. And we go from there, and but we have this, just the energy of that where like there's no like hiding it, there's no doing something behind our back, like it's open. That energy, the open energy, changes everything. Totally. And if we as a collective can learn how to trust and give people that, like, just when we trust the process and we trust that we're going to share with each other, and the only way to build trust is by not freaking out and getting upset with someone when they're like, hey, I think this woman's really beautiful. I'd like to get to, what's wrong with you? What, you don't think you love me? Like, that's what kills it.
Yep.
And so when we maintain this sense of like,
create shame, like, oh, you've done something wrong for what you feel.
Exactly. And the fact is that we are human beings who feel so many things, and we get to feel our emotions. And I'm so big on emotional intelligence and helping people to actually be able to uncover what they're feeling. And if we hide what we're feeling and we try to make it wrong or bad or label it in any way, we are actually completely diminishing who we are as a person, who we are here to be. Yeah. And it ends up really backfiring in a multitude of ways that can cause depression, it can cause stress, it can cause anxiety, and it can ultimately cause disease in the body as well.
Yep.
So maintaining this open energy of like an open conversation, conscious communication, like expressing ourselves, even just saying, wow, I'm really attracted to that person, sometimes is like all you need. You don't actually need to even have sex with them. You're just like, whoa, that person's gorgeous. And it opens up a conversation of like, whoa, yeah, what is it that you love about it? Is it the energy? Is it the eyes? The hair? It's like fun to kind of just explore what's there, as opposed to being this questioning and like that because you think something is beautiful does not mean that like you think I'm beautiful. There is more than enough love to go around.
Love's the only thing that divides and grows, I believe.
Right? Divides and, yes, splits and grows and anchors. And the thing is like, when you look at flowers, you're not just like, that one flower is the only flower that's beautiful.
Right.
Or that one, I only love strawberries.
Yeah. Right.
I don't like any other fruit. It's like, no, we love variety. We love the different looks.
It's the spice of life.
Yes, and it doesn't mean that you have to also have sex with them. That's why I'm also so big on, that's why, Sensual Awakening, I'm so big on showing people how they can explore and open their senses and experience so much pleasure without sex.
Yep.
There is actually so much sex with no intimacy and very little pleasure. And there is so much intimacy and sexual experiences that can actually allow you to see so much more beyond what we ever even thought possible of the kind of pleasure.
Into me see?
Into me I see.
Yeah.
Into me. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you're seeing into yourself and you're exploring all that is there for you. So I am so big on just open communication and expression, full expression, radical self-expression. I love to be naked. I don't care who like triggers, but I'm always like, is it okay to be here? But like the more that we...
How dare you be the way you were born?
Exactly.
Something is wrong with that.
That's what I always say when people have a hard time. I was like, do you know that you were born naked?
Yeah.
That's how you came into this world. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
So that's something that is like really, I feel like that has the power to change everything. And one thing, like an image for you to picture is that has really helped me is, say, you have a butterfly that comes and lands on your hand. You look at the butterfly and you admire the butterfly. You're like, wow, what a beautiful butterfly. If you try to close your hand around the butterfly, you could kill it. It could die from just like trying to be like, you're mine now.
Yep.
It's that energy of mine.
Yep.
Kills and strangles.
Yep.
and has the potential to completely ruin the show.
Yep.
And the only thing that tries to claim mine is the ego.
Right.
Ultimately, everything is ours. And yes, it's like, this is the phone I'm using. Oh, you want to use it? Sure. But there's such a different energy of like, no, this is mine. You can't have it. I'm the only one who gets to wield this thing.
Yeah.
When we open up to this energy of, one, that you are me and I am you, and when we know that, we can actually see the truth.
Yeah.
So when we know that it's all a collective we, it's an ours, you're really shifting from me to we.
Yeah.
And that is where we are at on the
me-go
planet.
to the we-go, as my friend Chris says.
Right? That's cute. I like to say like the we-ness. The we-ness is like, as we step into the we-ness of our world, it's like everything transforms. And so we can do that on all levels, with partnerships and relationships, with the way that we're showing up, with the way that we treat people, the way that we share. And when we come into sharing, we recognize and we remember that we have all the resources we need. Period. We have all of the resources we need to truly anchor heaven on earth right now. Heaven on earth does not exist once you die. Heaven on earth is a way of being right now.
lest you become like a child, you can't enter the kingdom of heaven. And that is not a place that you go. You're in eternity right now. So becoming that poster adult for childhood is the path, I believe.
Yes, I'm so about the childlike sense of wonderment and bringing people into this remembering of what lies within the awe. That's one of the things I, guide in the experiences, is that we are living, breathing, walking, talking miracles. And when we fully remember and claim the miracle that we are, we also allow ourselves to see the miracle in others. And when we see the miracle in others and in all things, in plants and animals, in the earth, in like the beauty and the smells and the ocean and everything around us, the way you experience life is transformed. When you see through the eyes of a child, when you see in that way of like, wow, like just wow, everything is freaking amazing.
Well, you think too, what comes up for me when you're talking about this is how a child is about sexuality or their body,
so
or
open,
they're
play
so
with
open,
themselves,
naked, like they don't care at all about being naked.
Dancing in the middle of a restaurant, like there's no worries, no cares, and that's how we get to be. Like when you look at little children, sometimes you'll look at children and you'll be like, oh my God, what's wrong with them? Like how can they do this? And then they try to shun it, they try to dim it. That's literally what has been programmed and what is kind of like, I wouldn't say the wrong with society, but it's the greatest opportunity that we have is instead to look at them and be like, wow, how can we show up more like that?
Yep.
We saw the other day, we were having a meeting at a restaurant down the way, and there were these kids hugging and cuddling in the booth. And I showed everyone we were with, I was like, see, right there.
Yep.
Like, let's get our booth and start cuddling in the restaurant.
Totally.
It's like... Yes, so the more we come back to that, remembering
they're shameless until they've been told, oh my gosh, put your clothes on. Oh my gosh, don't cover yourself.
Yes.
Oh my God.
How are you touch yourself? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. No, we don't do that.
We don't do that. Yeah, it's like, you don't do that, but clearly I'm doing it. It's pretty great. Want to join me?
Exactly.
So that is the key. That is such a key to unlock everything we ever wanted to experience. And it is moving far beyond the confines of the mind and releasing the illusions and fully seeing with new eyes.
Yeah, what I'll add to this whole, non-monogamy, just open to all possibilities, clear communication type of relationship that I currently have with my partner, Karen, which, I've mentioned a few times on the show, but haven't talked in detail. It's someone that, what do you know? We started communicating. I met many, many, many years ago. My last 3 relationships have all come from the same pool on my birthday, July 28th, 2012. Yeah, I have this whole, I don't even know if you know, I have this crazy birthday synchronicity story that they've heard. It's like a 10-minute deal. But July 28th, 2012, yeah, it's really wild. And July 28th, 2012, and then from her, Gabrielle, I met my next partner, Anna, through her, and I also met Karen, my current partner, back in 2012 through her. And then Karen reached out to me on this last birthday, and we started dating, and at first it was very casual, and then it just got better and better and better and better and better. And now it's like we have an open relationship and we talk about things. The communication is so clear. And whenever there's some sort of blockage ever, we talk about it in such a mature, positive, powerful way where we process it completely. And every time it just ends up drawing us closer.
Yeah,
Instead of those things that most people would repress and never tell their partner about. And oh my gosh, I should be ashamed of this. And instead it comes right out on the table. We talk about it, we process it, we deal with it. And it's like, wow, I'm even more attracted to you now. It's incredible.
That is so powerful. And that's with everything. I was just helping a sister the other day through some stuff she was going through. And that was the whole thing, was encouraging her to actually express, because that brings us closer than we ever even thought.
So wild.
It's so interesting. We think vulnerability is going to separate us and make someone mad and upset, and it does nothing more than create massive awareness and more love and more connection, because you feel so much more connected to the person.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's actually sometimes even beyond words. I'm like, the way that I'll feel.
It's next level.
It's like, wow.
Well, when we both connected with someone else in that, in this relationship thus far, it's happened on both sides, and it's like we're both even more drawn to each other, and it's just like, whoa. And for her at first, it was, this is the very first time she sort of explored this, and not for me. She's like, wow, I didn't expect to feel that way. Like, hold on, you connected with this other person, and now I'm like, I want you even more. Whereas in traditional structures, for me, it's kind of like after a while, it kind of starts getting stale, and the honeymoon kind of weighs off, and then you're just just like, the energy starts to feel cut off. This feels like it renews it all the time for me personally.
Totally.
And I'm not trying to force this down anyone's throat. And, I'm not saying monogamy is bad.
Awareness of the potential, because there is so much more potential than what we've been told.
I would say, for those of you out there, check out the book Sex at Dawn, or if you don't want to read a whole book, go and search on YouTube, Are We Designed to Be Sexual Omnivores by Christopher Ryan. It's a 13-minute TED Talk, and I think every human should see that TED Talk. It's so powerful. Wow, so this has been such a cool conversation. I can't believe we are already, speaking of bending time, like we are in a time warp. And
Has it already been?
It's been an hour and 10-ish or amazing. Close to it. So as we sort of wind down here, I would love to hear from you I'd love to hear stories of synchronicity or serendipity or a positive paranormal story. And I got to think you have something magical up your sleeve. Pun intended. If magic were to pop out right now from your sleeve, I'd be like, whoa, that was impressive. So any fun story time to share?
Good. Okay. Yeah. I feel like there's so many. I'm like,
That's what almost everyone says on the show, which is why they're on the show.
Right. What's one that, one thing that I'll share that just feels especially relevant for me right now with what I'm experiencing and being in this house is dreams coming true. Like on so many levels, dreams coming true. And in the last few days and in the last week, I've actually it's really sunk in to just how much of these dreams that I've kind of been thinking about and seeing have actually come to fruition. And one thing that I just realized the other day when we were in the hot tub was that 1 year ago, almost exactly 1 year ago, I was guiding a retreat in Big Bear. And during that retreat, I was experiencing this absolute knowing of this is how we will live someday. And not very far from now, but this is how we will live in community, guiding each other through powerful experiences, supporting each other, loving, holding, nourishing, eating together, making meals together, sharing each other's gifts, co-creation, incubation of creation, where we're really creating the microcosm of the macrocosm of what's possible in the rest of our world. And this absolute I see it and it's happening. And then a big part of it also was conscious media and bringing new ways of showing people to the whole world what is possible when we come together in these ways, showing the before and after, showing the timeline of the story, showing the integration to everyday life, all of these things. And then 1 year later, I am now living and being in a space that is exactly that. And not only am I just living in it, but I am fully stepping into the role that I get to be in the world for this house, which is the thing that from the time I was a little girl, this just holding.
Super mom.
Super just the desire to just wrap it all in my arms and show you all what's possible and love you into remembering.
Damiana.
You know what they said the other day? Damiana. Because I've been told, I've been compared to the hugging saint, Allah, because of how my hugs and the ways that I just want to hold them.
So
and they're like, Damiana.
You're as maternal as they get.
Damiana. The other thing Substance calls me is Dami Mommy.
Yeah,
so it definitely feels like it is what I'm here to do on the planet, and now I am seeing it reflected in the most incredible way possible. And when I first met you, actually at a Purium a Purium summit or something, a year or two ago, first met you, and I didn't know who you were, but I just had this knowing that I would know you, and that there was some medicine there was something to be woven. And so now, full circle, coming to be in this space to recognize the powerful piece of the puzzle that I serve for you and helping you be your namesake, BBB. Right. And that is so what I'm here to be and offer, and to witness all that you guys have been doing and birthing with this incredible show, The Optimistic Show, Optimistic TV. It's all exactly what I've dreamed, but beyond my wildest dream. Like, because the mind can't fully fathom the way it's going to happen, the way the path will unfold. And the thing that I just keep remembering and being a guide for others to know is that we don't have to know how it's going to happen. And actually, the best thing we can do is to not try to control the outcome.
Yeah.
It's to just trust the process, to trust the journey as it unfolds before us. When we don't try to figure out the how, miracles upon miracles happen. And I am now in a state of complete awe and reverence of like, this is what I get to experience, and I am getting to live my purpose every day. And I'm just beyond grateful to the way in which the universe weaves the magic that are just so beyond space and time. And one thing I like to remind people is that, you know, don't even try to grasp or understand these ways and these concepts, because this magic is not of the mind.
Yeah.
And when we don't try to do that, we allow it to ripple beyond space and time.
Yeah.
Because it is far beyond,
Great
far
advice.
Surpassing anything we could imagine. So
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Wow. Well, this has been absolutely epic. For those out there who would like to, of course, connect with you, as we mentioned, Damiana is a new house mama staple here at the Mystic Manor. Dami Mama is the house staple in guiding people through, you know, part of the retreat in Mystic Manor Retreat immersion will be very Damiana centric. And if you guys care to come and experience that, certainly book a call, calendly.com/mystic deal, and we can talk to you about dates, times, payment plans, all that jazz. You can also find out more information on optimistic.tv, as well as see the new show, episode 1 with Shaman Durek that was just released. And Durek is like, his star is rising very rapidly. He just got cast onto as a recurring co-host, a guest host on CBS show The Doctors, which is this incredible mainstream show about healing, and they're bringing this spirit shaman on, which is wild. Yeah.
That shows where we're at in the world, and that is like, wow.
Yeah.
Whew,
and he's so powerful. I mean, if you guys haven't heard him on this show, he's been on a couple times. Definitely check out optimistic.tv and episode 1 of Optimistic, and continue to follow our journey. We're releasing episodes every Sunday at 11 a.m. The premise of the show, late night just woke up. So instead of Saturday night, it's like Sunday morning at 11. Come to church with us.
Take me to church. I love it.
And it's a real shift show, let me tell you.
Shift show up in here.
All right, we'll stop. Oh, man. So for those who want to follow you, Damiana, what's the best way to connect with you?
Instagram, it's Damiana Loves. Super simple, just because I love everything.
You love.
So Damiana, Damiana, Loves, Loves. And would love for you to message me. And, you know, if you're wanting support in any way, definitely reach out. And also, I'm so excited to be guiding these really deep dives here as a staple. And, you know, for those who are wanting different experiences, there's so many different things that can be offered. So just reach out. I would love to help support you, answer questions, anything. Feel free to reach out. And one thing that I would love to share is something that really helps, just this remembering, and something I like to remember when I see like 1111, sacred numbers like that, is that we are miracles. We magnetize miracles. We are miracles. We magnetize miracles. And I'll usually do it 3 times, and just really allowing it to sink in.
We are miracles. We magnetize miracles for the 3rd time.
Yes. And so I just want to invite you all to really feel that and breathe and be with that, of that knowing and that remembering. And another thing I would also love to offer is that I released a song this last year.
Oh, yes.
And it's called The Call. And it is a call to action on this next hero's journey for all of us to rise into and claim what we were always here to be. And the truth is, and it talks about this obviously in the song, but it's through trusting the process, through trusting the journey, this is how we rise together, is that absolute trust. And through the power of coming together, that is how we transform everything. And that is the true, as I call it, a love and pleasure alchemist, because we turn everything into pleasure. We turn everything into love. And one of the lines is in the song is turning pain into power. This is how we allow her to just flow. And so when we let that energy flow through our body, flow through our system, we truly become vessels where things slow down. It's like Matrix style. The way that we can live our life is full Matrix. Like sometimes I'll see something dropping and time is so standstill. I like watch it slow motion drop to the ground and I catch it. We have the potential to live in this way. So this song is a powerful reminder to bring us back to that truth. And I recommend people actually listening to the song a couple times in a row. Really great speakers. And let yourself do some deep breathing and move your body. Like let this music move through your body, or even just sit and fully receive the lyrics. But this is one that I've listened to, like when I'm going through something and I'm having a hard time remembering, I'm like, what am I doing? This is so crazy. I listen to this song and it truly brings me back. So this song is an absolute like just gift to the world. It came through me as a divine remembering for the world. And I would love for it to be used in any way, shape, or form. Yoga classes, like for the show, for like anything that you're like, wow, this would really help support people if this song was a part of that. So please, like, just listen, use it, share it. Like, it's such a gift, and I'm really excited to also be creating more music because there's so much. I'm such an open channel, so I just kind of constantly have music coming through me, and it's just a matter of freaking recording it. So I'm excited to make that happen as well. So that's my commitment of being here at the band.
You are such an epic soul. What a beautiful reflection. Thank you for showing up and being. This is Damiana, the call we're about to share. Before we play her song, I do have one last question for you. In 60 seconds or less, what is the meaning of life according to Damiana?
The meaning of life is to live in a state of love, to explore, to play, to dance, to create, to fully step in to your piece of the puzzle, to claim your cosmic role on this planet, and to become so empowered that you are able to see the highest potential in others and fan their flames so that they may rise higher to truly step into everything they were meant to be, to experience, to have, to give, to share on this planet.
Beautiful. And so it is. Don't forget to check out episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all coming. Whenever you're listening to this, optimistic.tv. This is Damiana's song, The Call. Until next time, journey well. Love you all so much.
Love you. Aloha.
And if you're feeling the call to come for a week retreat-style Mystic Manor immersion, remember to go now and book your time to speak with me directly about stepping into the optimistic vortex at calendly.com/talkwithbrandon while there are still spots left. Otherwise, I look forward to co-creating magic with you at the Mystic Manor.
Trust yourself and make it last. Intuition is guiding you. All you have to do is heard the call, time has come. Are you going to answer? Nowhere to run, you are the one. This is how it all begun. Open your heart, let go of the past. Trust yourself and make it last. Intuition is guiding you. All you have to do is let it flow. baby. So let's do it together we rising higher than we ever thought that we trust in the process, the journey. We know where we at, y'all heard me. Coming together, we learning, living life in love and turning hatred into love with acceptance from up above. Pain into power. Yes, this is how we allow her to just flow. Let it flow, running through your body and soul. Body, let it flow. Let it flow. Let it guide you to the one you always knew. Yes, you are. Yes, you deserve it. You're worth it. Oh, baby, show me. Let's do it